only thing that is good is our visits, that we could actually see our families. Everything else is worse. I'd rather be in county, actually. Do my whole 30 in county.
I'm just going to ask this real quick because it's neither here nor there, but when you visit with your family, is it like this, or do you have to use those?
No,
it's
those
in the same room?
It's in here where we're at right now.
Okay, so you are able to like hug somebody.
You can hug them, you can give them a kiss on the cheek, and you can, like with kids, they're allowed to sit on your laps and stuff.
Okay, so you do
nice
have some contact like that. Now, before I forget to ask this about the jail, and this is sort of separate from all of this, but it sounds like, everybody was supposed to be in protective custody, that they were not to have contact with each other and other people. Now you're telling me that you could even sit face-to-face with her at times at the jail?
In the day room.
I thought they were supposed to clear everybody out.
You're not supposed to. But some officers will maybe turn their head, and some officers didn't know because we were sneaky. I mean, you weren't supposed to. It's not like an officer actually said, okay, just sit right here and talk to her. We would get yelled at for talking through the door. We would get yelled at for talking in the vent. We'll get yelled at if we were caught waving at somebody. When you're in protective custody, even if you go out to take a shower, the whole dormitory is cleared out.
That's what I thought. But, I mean, how were you sitting face-to-face then sometimes?
Because sometimes when I'm waiting for them to get my shackles through the control room, I'll sit at the table and I'll kind of turn to her room and talk to her. You're sneaky. Yeah, you're sneaky. Or every now and then, because I was there for I was there for a year in confinement, the officers trusted me when I pass out supplies and stuff to the rooms, put them by their doors. Well, every now and then when I put pads by a door, I slip a note. You're sneaky. That's it. The officers, there were a few that did kind of feel bad because we have no communication with nobody but the officers. So when you say something to somebody, they'll let it go on for a couple minutes and then stop it. Okay, no more, enough. Go back to your cell. If we get caught doing something, we get sent back to our cell. We don't come out for the rest of the day. So, I mean, there was punishment. Officers never allowed it like that.
Right.
But we were sneaky, pretty much.
And speaking of officers, do you know Sylvia Hernandez?
Yes.
She's under investigation now.
I know. I had an interview over the phone the other day about it, and I am aware of it, and what they're trying to say isn't true.
Who's trying to say?
Whoever is putting the investigation upon her and putting her in investigation, none of that stuff is true.
Oh, you're saying that she never really...
No, she was only her biggest problem was she was too nice to us. And sometimes if she does it for one person and then turns around and says, no, okay, stop, that person will get mad. Well, you did it for her, and then
she has to do it for them too.
Yeah.
So there have been questions raised because Robin Adams insinuated, and we didn't get her whole. I think we got some of her statement too, but she said that Sylvia Hernandez helped her pass letters or helped her communicate with Casey, and she didn't want to get anyone in trouble. So she didn't really want to come out and say it. And so then everybody was wondering because Robin tried to sell the letters. So everybody's trying to figure out, well, how far did this go? Did Sylvia, pass some of the letters? Was Sylvia in on trying to sell the letters? I mean, what's your take on all of that?
As long as I was there, I never seen that happen.
You never saw Robin take letters?
I've seen inmates pass letters to each other, but I've never saw an officer actually take a letter from somebody and hand it to somebody else.
Ever, okay.
Ever. And if it did happen, I would have had it too because I was there for 2 years.
Okay.
So the only thing that Ms. Hernandez ever did was allow us 10 extra minutes in the shower, a couple minutes on the rec yard when we weren't allowed to be on the rec yard. Stuff like that,
okay.
Little stuff. She was an officer that if you had a problem, you can call her to your door and you can talk to her. And if she can do something for you, she will.
Okay. So she might have helped them communicate, like you said. She lets people cross paths for a few minutes and let them talk, and then...
we have 2 staircases that go down. If your room is way over here, but you're right by the stairs, she'll let you go all the way around, make your little round for the day, and then go back to your cell, go to the shower. It's just little stuff like that made us happier because we were stuck in a room all day long.
Right.
So to be able to walk around and say hi to somebody, we would leave her alone for the rest of the night. We won't bother her no more.
Right.
It was stuff like that, but I never, ever, her or any other officer seen them take a letter and pass it to somebody else or anything.
Okay.
Anything like that.
Okay. And, apparently she told Robin, if you know, maybe if you talk to her enough, maybe she'll open up to you. Did she ever say anything like that to you,
No.
Sylvia Hernandez?
No.
And do you know what, again, it seems like you're saying that some people were trying to sort of facilitate that somehow to get Casey to talk. What do you think was behind that?
Well,
because people will be suspicious now that the jail was working with law enforcement.
No, they weren't. They weren't. It was,
more like everybody just wanted to know. The public, everybody
knows.
Yeah,
it was more of what's really going on. Just for the truth to come out. And the reason anybody ever made any statements to me or comments to me was because of how mine came out. So everybody felt that maybe because of that, I could convince her just to tell the truth, not to get information out of her and give it to the public or the investigators, nothing like that, but for her to turn herself in and tell the truth of what happened. If she really got kidnapped, if she was murdered, if she overdosed on something, anything, just to tell the truth.
Not necessarily to you.
No.
But just do it.
To the right people, to the law enforcement. That was it.
Right.
I've never once contacted the detectives before this or anything like that. I didn't even know who they were. I've never talked to any law enforcement besides my own detective that was about my case. So...
And just again, like in November, I think you answered this, but I can't remember what you said. In November, when you did make that call, what was it in November that drove you to do that? Why did you decide in November, I'm going to call them?
Well, because really, November for me is the hardest month because of Thanksgiving. And really watching so many clips of her and seeing her picture in the papers and everything, it gets a little frustrating when you can see somebody that just is blank, no emotion. You don't see no emotion in them or anything. I have every now and then seen her cry on TV, but I also remember what she was like in the most private area, which is your cell, in your bed. And I've never seen her cry. So it gets a little frustrating. It really does. And while I was in county, I didn't see my brother and sister face to face. I saw them through a TV. Now to be able to hug them and touch them, they're kids. No child should be treated like that. And being in prison with more people that have hurt children, it makes you not really hate them, but despise them. It makes you just wonder how, why. So if I could at least lead them to the right way, not ask them for anything in return, just lead them to the right way so they can find out the truth, so the baby can rest in peace. That's why. It just happens to be November. It just happened to be that.